Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're listening to the Thai Expat Daily Show. I'm your host, Kieran Mack. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's just jump into today's show. Well, today is June 5th. And on June 7th, apparently, we as foreigners here in Thailand are meant to be able to register to be vaccinated for COVID-19. Now, the government about 2.5 to 3 weeks ago informed us that June 7th, everyone will be able to register. So, as of now, it seems like that was complete and utter bullshit. Uh, Looking around Thailand, it seems that Chiang Mai is about one of only a few provinces that have set up a registration portal for foreigners to be able to register. So they can just go online, input their details, and away they go. I'll leave a link to that for people in Chiang Mai so that they can register for the vaccine if they want it. Phuket vaccinated work permit holders, but they forgot about the 25,000 expats that are living on the island, and a lot of them who are quite elderly and would be, at risk. Bangkok, they promised that expats could register at two hospitals. One was the Vimut Hospital, that was in Bangkok, and the other was the Bangkok Vaccination Health Center. Both of these places took people's registration details and then sent out bizarre messages. Vimut Hospital sent out a message saying, unfortunately, they had to cancel all foreign nationals' registrations, while the other one sent out a message a couple of days ago saying that you have to register with your embassy to be able to get a vaccine. Now, that's complete and utter nonsense, and that's certainly nothing that the government had ever told anyone. So, today at the CCSA morning brief, which is on television, the lovely spokeslady who was going through the details of COVID-19 and the infections basically came out and kind of in a roundabout way said that, well, the public health department has not received any details from many provinces around the country as to how foreigners can actually register. And that to stay tuned for more details in the future. And that was it. Now, June 7th is, well, 2 days, a day away. So I'm a bit confused by it all myself. Now, it's beyond me why you can't just set up a simple registration system for people to be able to register. That's it. Can't be that complicated. A website? I mean, it genuinely can't be that complicated. But it seems like to me that they've made it as complicated as possible in order to, definitely give us the idea that foreigners are not going to be vaccinated anytime soon, especially expats in Thailand. When I talk about expats, I'm talking about people who are retired, people who are married to Thai citizens, people who are on educational visas, people who are here on elite visas, smart visas, and even at this moment in time, tourist visas, because these people have been tourists have been stuck here for quite a long time too. And then, of course, work permit holders who are not included in the hospitality industry. So there's a lot of foreigners here in Thailand, and they're just being completely overlooked. And to me, that kind of discrimination is wrong on so many levels. Now, you can agree or disagree whether or not you want to take a vaccine, but at least you should have the opportunity to be able to register. And it seems, that at this moment in time, the government have no answers. We'll tell you when we get the information. That information should already be with every foreigner. They should know on June 7th where they're going to register. Like every Thai citizen in the country knows where they can register on June 7th. But there seems to be just this inability to pull their act together and look after people who live in their country. But yet they want international tourism and they want international money, but they don't want to look after the international residents that are living in their country. Kind of goes both ways, guys. So any information I get, I'll post on this channel for people. If you're living in Phuket, I have no idea where you're going to register. We'll see. But we'll move on to the next story of today. Our next story is about the Tourism Association of Thailand working to bolster confidence in Phuket. The Tourism and Sports Ministry aims to lure both fully vaccinated foreigners and local travellers to Phuket to help boost confidence and shore up tourism demand as part of its sandbox model. The ministry wants to restart domestic travel in August. Pitapat Ratchapakan, the Tourism Sports Minister, said the Tourism Authority of Thailand plans to sign a memorandum of understanding this month with the Thai Chamber of Commerce to support domestic trips to Phuket, which could build up local confidence. Mr. Pitapat said Chamber members can start taking trips from July 1st as part of the scheme to help reassure both vaccinated foreigners and Thais that they can safely travel to Phuket. In terms of pending domestic stimulus, he said the ministry has to wait for progress in inoculations in June and July before relaunching tourism subsidies in August. The government's domestic tourism goal has been downgraded to 100 to 120 million trips, generating 550 billion baht. Mr. Pitipat said the creation of a tourism fund to help mitigate the impact of the pandemic is still being discussed. The Association of Thai Travel Agents is gathering information on financial aid before submitting it to the ministry. He plans to talk to the Finance Ministry about how to use the government's 500 billion baht loan decree for this task. As the Public Health Ministry is concerned about a possible surge of infections in the future, travellers have to stay in the island for 14 days during the first month of reopening, said Mr. Pitipat. It just goes on to talk about the reopening of Phuket on July 1st, and just on that, I'm not going to cover anything else on that until it's been officially published in the Royal Gazette, and then, as I said to people, I would make a complete video from start to finish of everything that has to happen. I'll try get the costs of everything, COVID tests, and the different things that you might have to pay for along the way. So I will try and get all that done for you for next week. But in relation to this, I mean, it's a little common sense. I mean, they're trying to bring in international tourism, but what they're doing at the moment is alienating the domestic tourism within the country. So people feel right now that you can't travel to Phuket because you need to have either this COVID test or you need to be vaccinated. Now there's only, a couple of million people out of 67 million people vaccinated. So that's a big chunk of people that aren't vaccinated and unable to travel to Phuket. Not everybody has the money to be paying for rapid antigen tests at your hospital before you come. Family of four, that would set them back maybe 4,000 baht. It gets a little expensive for people. So people are not just as inclined, they're inclined to skip Phuket right now. And that's what I have seen. Hotels here are actually empty, most of them. There's nobody staying here at the moment, very few tourists around. And that can be said for most places, but in particular Phuket. So they really do need to get their act together, and they need to start focusing on international and domestic tourism. The reason why Phuket got into the mess it did during COVID was its over-reliance on international tourism and not having a balance between international and domestic. But we'll see if they learn their lesson for the future. Mine-sniffing rat Magawa ends years of hard work in Cambodia. After 5 years of sniffing out landmines and unexploded ordnance in Cambodia, Magawa is retiring. The African giant poached rat has been the most successful rodent trained and overseen by a Belgian non-profit, the APOPO, to find landmines and alert its human handlers so the explosive can be safely removed. He has cleared more than 141,000 square meters, 1.5 million square feet of land, the equivalent of some 20 soccer fields, sniffing out 71 landmines and 38 items of unexploded ordnance, according to the APOPO. And for the first time, it won a British charity's top civilian award for animal bravery last year, an honour so far exclusively reserved for dogs. Although still in good health, he has reached retirement age and is clearly starting to slow down. It's time for him to retire. While many rodents can be trained to detect scents and will work at repetitive tasks for food rewards, Apopo decided that African giant pooch rats were best suited to land mine clearance because their size allows them to walk across minefields without triggering the explosives, and they do it much more quickly than people. They also live up to 8 years. Magawa is part of a cohort of rats bred for this purpose. He was born in Tanzania in 2014, and in 2016 he moved to Cambodia's northwestern city of Siem Reap, home of the famed Angkor temples, to begin his bomb-sniffing career. APOPO also worked with programs in Angola, Zimbabwe and Mozambique to clear millions of mines left behind from wars and conflicts. More than 60 million people in 59 countries continue to be threatened by landmines and unexploded ordnance. In 2018, landmines and other remnants of war killed or injured 6,897 people, the group says. So there is a happy story of today about a big ass rat who clears landmines in Cambodia, and he's finally getting to retire. And you know what? He deserves it too. 71 landmines he cleaned and 38 unexploded ordnance. Not a bad job for a little rat running around on the field. He's done a great job. So he deserves his retirement, and well done to him. Thanks for tuning in today. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating. We are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow.